Hello and welcome. So today I'm talking about the body. So every video I make in my Mind, Body, Spirit video series has a component for the spiritual aspect of our lives. So I get this cough, like it starts like a tickle here. So it means that someone wants to talk to you. So I'm going to be channeling messages tonight about your body, about people's bodies, and this is interesting. So the guides that have come through, and they're body guides, and they're body guides for everyone who's watching this. So they're saying it's time to stop treating your body like a dumping ground. And they said especially with processed foods. So if I look down or I look away, it means that I'm processing the thoughts that are coming to my mind. So don't think that I'm avoiding looking at the camera. It's that I don't look forward so that I can actually be a better channel, okay? So they're telling me that I'll pick a card for you to deal with your body. And I had that insight when I started making this video. And they're saying I'm to tell you that I've been absent from making videos as I've been going through some transformation in my life. And it's been an interesting time. They're also saying for you to be aware of the words that you use about your body. So often we'll say, we'll use the words that we'll use words about our bodies, about the condition it's currently in. So if you have excess weight, you might say, oh, I'm fat, or I'm heavy, or something. So that's an affirmation to keep you anchored in that condition that your body currently has. So when I started, I'm not allowed to talk about myself. I'm to talk to you about you. So they're saying that there's one person that's going to be watching this and who thinks of herself as fat. So you've created a self-fulfilling prophecy that you're always going to be large. You think you're large. You think you're fat. So let me tell you this. Oh my goodness. I'm just to stay on track with them. They're saying that you have had childhood conditions where people have conditioned you to believe that your body is always going to be a certain way. And they said to tell you, to let you know that you're allowed to sculpt your body however you see fit. So they're saying to remove the conditions that were placed on you, say in early childhood, how impressions were formed about you. Oh, you're large, or oh, you're big boned, or oh, you're going to have a weight problem, or oh, you're always going to have a big bum. It runs in the family, and that sort of idea. But they said that I'm here to tell you that you are allowed to condition your body however you want. And they're saying that strength training, weight training is an excellent component to any fitness routine that you want to put your body through. For example, if your body is not performing the way you want, you have sore joints, sore ligaments, sore knees, sore hips, you are meant to condition your body. Oh, what is going on? It's like someone's tickling my nose. No, they told me I'm doing a good job. And that's just a really strange way to let me know. Like, thank you. They want you to know that you are to condition your body the way you see fit. So they're saying, one, incorporate strength training. And they said that about 3 days a week is good. Okay, you don't have to go overboard. They said 3 or 4. So if you go every other day for strength training, they're saying that would be good. And they're saying that you will notice a condition in your joints, that you'll be more limber, you will have more strength, and then you'll be able to do more. Say you wanted to do some cardio and you weren't able to do it because your joints were sore or something like that. You'll find that the strength training will help you push through that barrier that, say you wanted to run a certain mile. And if your body doesn't have the strength to do it, it can't, and it's not conditioned to do it, it's going to be a lot harder on a body that doesn't do strength training as opposed to one that does. Because the one that does strength training actually has more, they're saying there's more positive energy in your joints. And as they tell me, I can see a picture of how say knee sockets fit together or hip sockets fit together. And something happens when you do strength training. It transforms the way the joints fit together, and they fit together better. That's what they're telling me. So that's really interesting, because up until this point I didn't know, I hadn't seen it. But I do know from strength training, because I had never done strength training before properly. You know, I used to like kind of play around in the gym when I worked in schools. Never really understood how conditioning your body using strength training can help you push your body to new levels with cardio. And that's what happened. So they're telling me to pull a card now. Let's fish around in here and pull a card. Two, 3. I'm going to pick this one right here. Okay, so, good. So this says responsibility. So they're saying you have a responsibility with your body, that you are to take care of it. And they said every 10 years, your body does a huge metabolical and metaphysical change. So they're saying that as you age, every 10 years, you become more insightful about what's going on in the real world. And they're saying not what's on the news, but what's going on in the real world, what's really happening. And if you watch people, the way I've been people watching lately in the last couple months, I've noticed that over the last 20 to 30 years, the people in Canada, and certainly in Alberta, have gotten heavier. Their skin tone is gray. They are eating a lot of processed foods, and they're complaining about their joints being sore. So, what does that mean? Well, hello, your body's toxic, so it's time to clean it up. So if you've been following, this is the time I'm making this video is January 16th, 2020, and I started a month of wellness posts on my social media, Instagram and Facebook. And every day I post some information about your body, or what you feed it, or what's in food, or how to eat, or not really how to eat, but what you could eat to improve your health, or what you could drink. Or so they're just ideas. No, you don't have to do it. But I just noticed how people are unaware. They're so disconnected from their bodies. And the guides are saying, and then my food guide, my Canada food guide, he makes a joke. He said that people are so disconnected with their bodies now, they're not realizing how their illnesses are related to the foods they consume. And they're saying that largely the food is produced for longer shelf life to make more money, because they don't have to throw it away as much, right? Because if it's produce that's being produced, and it has a shorter shelf life, they're not going to make as much money on that as they would on processed food. So anything that has a longer shelf life, and it doesn't include frozen goods, although frozen goods are a good example of how things will have a longer shelf life because they're frozen, they're saying that the conglomerate of corporations have decided to make people fat. Now that's a terrible thing to say, but think about it. The larger people are, the more they're going to want to work on losing weight, and the more they're going to be programmed to think that they are going to have to buy some diet aid, right? So it's like this, I know it sounds like a conspiracy theory, but if you understand that whole foods that are closest to the way they existed originally, the closer they are, the less they've been processed, the better they're going to match the energy of your body, right? Because your body's not processed. It may be taking processed food in, but your body is a living thing. And so if you take in food that's closest to the source, and if you know me, you know I've gone primarily vegan. I do have a weakness for certain things, and hopefully that will go away. But I noticed that my health has increased. My good health has increased since I cleaned up my diet. And no more sore joints, no more, I actually have more energy. I feel better. I'm shinier. And I'm old-ish. I'm not like old yet, but I'm aging better. And that could, because my health had become a concern. So I always kind of wondered about veganism, and I thought, that just doesn't sound very much fun. But when I was having problems releasing weight in the gym, and I was working out really hard, was doing 20 minutes cardio, 20 to 30 minutes of cardio before I worked out with weights. And then I did 20 to 30 minutes of cardio in the evening, and I wasn't losing enough weight. So I turned to a vegan diet, and I found that I had more energy, and the weight just fell off, and it never came back. So to me, that was a win, because I've always struggled with my weight, and now it's not a struggle anymore, and it's a shock, because I never thought that it would be that easy. It's like, what's that all about? So they're saying to tell you that strength training is key to a good physical regimen. And they're saying to do cardio sparingly, because your body doesn't need a lot of it. And some of you might really love it, so then that's fine. But some of you have been programmed to think that you have to do cardio really hard in order to lose fat and lose weight, and that's not always true. It's actually more the tweaking the diet that will help your body become more stable in terms of the weight, right? So, but it's up to you to do the work, because seriously, people, there's no easy way to get skinny or thin or lean or whatever. It takes some effort, it takes some work. Yeah, you have to exercise, or it would be advisable to exercise, because it's going to make your body age better, right? And they're saying that a sedentary, lethargic body doesn't age as well as a body that's put through the paces. Weight training, some physical activity, some hardy outdoor activity, getting outdoors. They're just saying that this body that houses you is so important for your children, because you want to be around for them, and you also want to make sure that you show them how to live a healthy life. And it's okay once in a while. They showed me a picture of like junk food in my mind. They said it's okay once in a while to have some of that fun food, but that your diet is not meant to be primarily from the processed food, because processed food has very little vital life force in it. And the foods that are closer to nature have higher vital force. And I just posted yesterday about macro and micronutrients, and how macronutrients are proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, and our body needs all three of those, and most foods have all of those in it. But if you are eating foods and you're forgetting about the micronutrients, and that's like, calcium, magnesium, potassium, selenium, all those trace minerals, your body is really missing out. And so is your mind, right? Because your mind needs that too, and your mind needs a lot of good fats so that your brain ages well, because your brain is primarily made up of fat. Did you know that? So if someone calls you a fathead, you can say, yes, I have fat in my brain. So back on track. So it's up to you to decide how you want to alter your diet and how you want to age, because you really do have control of your health. And they're saying that the doctors don't have control of your health. You do, because you decide how you're going to be fit, how you're going to eat, how you're going to age, because nobody can control that for you. They told me to tell you what happened to me. What was it? Was it 2014, I think? I went to the doctor, and I got a new doctor, really liked her, and we did a physical, and she said, oh, you have high cholesterol, bad cholesterol, so you need to fix that, and I'll give you 90 days, and if it doesn't change, I'm going to put you on medication. So when people say they're going to put me on medication, I'm like, I'm not going to take the medication anyways. But that was a wake-up call for me, because I didn't realize how toxic my body had become, and it was primarily from eating fast food. So I did some research, and I found top 10 foods to lower your bad cholesterol. So what was it? Cinnamon, orange juice, and I thought just oranges too, right? Because then it's closer to the source. Oatmeal. There were other things. I heard nutmeg. I don't like the taste of nutmeg. But there were 10 foods that I included in my diet all the time. So I went back to see her in 90 days, and guess what? My cholesterol was fine. My bad cholesterol was cut. In one of my posts, I don't know if I said this or not, but I do know that oatmeal and oat fiber actually binds to the cholesterol, the bad cholesterol in your body, and it pushes it out. So that's why it's good to eat those things, right? Because it will help clean your body out if it has some toxicity, because we all have some toxicity from certain foods that we eat, because we don't always eat mindfully. So when you eat mindfully, you're thinking, how is this feeding my body? So, for example, I made lentil soup today. I put green and orange lentils in there. I soaked them before I cooked them, so I soaked them overnight. And then I put in some mushrooms and some Himalayan salt, pepper, some organic herbs, and oregano and thyme, and a carrot, organic carrot. So I cooked it all day in a slow cooker, and you know that it feeds your soul because it's really cold right now where I live, and it warms you up from the inside. The lentils have tons of protein in them, tons of fiber. It makes you feel good, it makes you feel full, and it's a nice, hearty, warm meal. That's just cooking in a slow cooker. So that's very different than how I used to live because I never used to use my slow cooker as much. I didn't soak my legumes, I didn't soak my nuts. You know, like nuts and seeds, you're meant to soak them as well. So because it actually, your body can absorb the nutrients from them better if you soak them, and it's just easier on your body to digest those foods. So I do that now, and I have to report that I have excellent health now, and that's what I want for you all to experience. I want you all to learn from people like me who have made drastic changes to their diets and, you know, incorporated a strength training program into their regimen, and, you know, are living examples of good health, right? Um, I feel it's very important to be really connected with our bodies, because so many people these days have become disconnected, and they'll go to the doctor. I met this lady, and I don't know how old she is, but she was complaining she's been sick for 2 months, and the doctor keeps giving her antibiotics. Her stomach is all messed up because of the antibiotics, because it's actually quite hard on your stomach, antibiotics, but the antibiotics weren't helping. So I said to her, well, I could see what's going on with her, right? Because I could see inside people's bodies. And I could see that her guts were messed up, but I got like a sensation. It's just a knowing that when I talk to people, if their energy opens up to me, their energy allows me to, it's like I see and sense inside their cellular structure what's going on and what's toxic. And I said to her, you eat dairy? And she's like, oh yeah, I like yogurt. And then she was drinking this fermented milk, and I said, just don't. I said, your body is toxic and it's making you sick. So, and I felt and heard that it was the sugars in the dairy that were making her resistant to healing. And I mean, she kept complaining that she was like sick for 2 months and nothing was changing. So, and then I also mentioned like that she was using the fermented milk as a you know, for her guts, for her gut health. And I said, I got a message that sauerkraut would be good for her, and to make sure she gets it in a glass jar and not in a can. It's just healthier because the sauerkraut isn't absorbing anything from the glass, but the can, don't really know what the can is made out of and how safe it is over long term, right? I'm not talking about short term, but I'm taking long term. There could be it could mix with the food. So I try not to eat too much canned food. Only ones I really do use are canned tomato sauce and canned tomato paste. Tomato paste is amazing for you because, did you know when you cook tomatoes and into a paste, there are cancer fighting agents in there called lycopene, and it actually is more present in when you cook the tomatoes and process them that way than if they are in their original form. So that is something very interesting, and my body really likes the tomato paste. I put it in, sometimes when I make chickpeas, I'll make chickpeas in my crock pot with just water, salt, and pepper, and then I put in tomato paste and some peanut butter and some hot sauce, and oh my goodness, it is so good. It's like, what a great invention. There's lots of fiber and lots of protein in chickpeas. They don't always taste so wonderful on their own. And I notice when you cook chickpeas with lentils, it seems like the lentils take away the weird taste of the chickpeas. So if you have a problem, like you don't really like chickpeas, make sure cook them with something else, and it's like the chickpeas will take on the energy, I heard, of what it's around it, because they're saying that there's a symbiotic relationship between the chickpeas with the whatever you cook them with. And they said they're like copycats. They'll take on the flavor of something else. So that's good to know. I'm feeling I need to choose another card. They said not to, but I do want to. Okay, fine. This is so bossy. So, you know, how you take care of your body is so important, and I can't say that enough because I've been through all different stages of life, and now that I'm old-ish, I really notice how foods affect me, or how like if I don't exercise, how that affects me. I don't feel as sassy, and I don't feel as happy. I don't. My skin isn't as nice. I didn't exercise today. I had a very busy day, but I did make sure I went outside because going outside is actually really good for you. It makes you, I hear it cleans your senses. And if you spend too much time indoors, you're in an artificial environment and it's not good. So if you ever feel like you need to clear your head, they're saying to go outside for 5 minutes. It's just 5 minutes and just clear your head. And they're saying not for a cigarette because that's not clearing your head. That's actually making your body toxic, because they said when you smoke, you're taking in all the toxins of they said the cigarette companies, they want to make you ill. That's very odd. I mean, not odd, but that's interesting because, again, that isn't something I heard. It's an idea that they want you to become chemically dependent because cigarettes and tobacco and cigarettes isn't just tobacco anymore. There are a lot of I heard like waste products or something in there to give, again, the tobacco a longer shelf life. But they said, smokers, they can't hang on to a package of cigarettes, but it's for for the time it leaves the factory to the time it gets to, it's transported, it gets to the store, and then it actually gets to the consumer. It could be a very long time. So they're saying that a lot of chemicals have been added to food and things people like to indulge in to give it a longer shelf life with no regard for human safety. And even though they say it's been tested, and they did the air quotes, it doesn't mean that it's in your best interest to eat it, drink it, smell it, or smoke it. There are people who had rituals, right, with tobacco and sharing that, and it's kind of gone by the wayside because it got convoluted and it changed. Everything has changed. So much has changed, right? Our world is so fast-paced now, and the food tends to be fast-paced as well, again, with no regard for how the humans process it. But yet, if you take a look around, and certainly in some people, they think that the cancer is part of their family genetics, family makeup, but it's not. It's actually it's your environment, could be how your emotions, could be a past life thing. I had a coaching session with someone, and we were talking about her spouse, and she talked about how her husband had cancer and he wasn't doing very well, and I got a message about him right away. And I said, he's had several lives actually with cancer, and in those lives he's beat cancer, and in this life, if he wanted to, he could change things and he could beat cancer again. But it seemed like he had given up, but there was like this fighting urge in him. He's a very special person. He was meant to show people how you can heal yourself from such a devastating disease, right? So we have to pay attention to how we treat our bodies so that we promote healthy cell growth and not promote unhealthy cell growth, because we can take it either way, right? So I've talked about in my posts making sure that you don't drink water from plastic bottles, because even if they are BPA free, bisphenol A free, which is a chemical that has something to do with mess with your estrogen, or it produces energy like estrogen, it messes you up. So if you indulge in bottled water, you just have to know that you're changing the chemistry, the chemicals in your body. So it's best to drink live water. I've talked about that as well. So live water is the water that basically comes out of the tap. Now, if you live in the city, the water's been treated. But you can take the things out of the water by filtering it with a charcoal filter, and then you can actually also buy filters. There's a company that has, I can't remember, I can't remember who makes it, but they have a container, a flask, a metal flask, and then they have a little metal basket that sits on the top of the flask, and you pour the water through, and it actually puts healthy ions into the water. And I used it, but it wasn't really doing anything, so I gave it to a friend, and she said, oh my goodness, I love the water so much that I put through that. She said, I just really want that thing, so I just gave it to her, because I had tried it, didn't really seem to do anything for me, but I just filter my water through a charcoal filter. So think about this the next time you reach for food or you reach for something to drink. What kind of cells are you creating? Are you promoting healthy cell growth for repair and for good health and goodwill to live a longer life with no health problems? Or are you going to choose, a sweetened beverage or an artificially sweetened beverage that doesn't even have real sugar in it? Are you going to reach for something like that is going to make you ill? Because over a long time, things that we were not meant to consume will make us sick. And if you, there was a gentleman who made a documentary. He spent a month eating just McDonald's food, and he had not a very healthy body after that. So I'm sure you can find it on YouTube, but it was to do with the fast food. And he wanted to show people what would happen if you just consumed that sort of food. So it's really important to think about, what kind of food do you eat? What kind of food do I eat? What kind of food, what am I doing with the food? Am I feeding my body for comfort? Or am I actually thinking of my body that it needs fuel? Because when you think of your body needing fuel and you look at it from that point of view, you'll know that you're actually feeding the machine and you're making a stronger and stronger body that won't break down, and that also will have a longer life, longer shelf life. And you'll just be healthier. So, but the results will be how you live, because you won't get sick anymore. You'll have excellent gut health. You'll have lots of bowel movements, because you're meant to have about 3 bowel movements a day. And you will understand the connection between food and health, because that really is what this video is about, is think about your body, think about the food that you give to it, consider what you're giving your body so that it can be the best it can possibly be. Because if you're eating just for comfort and a lot of processed food, you're creating toxic cell growth, and you don't want that. You want to have healthy cells, because when you feed your body healthy food, you will have more healthy cells than unhealthy cells, and the unhealthy cells will just get pushed out of your body, because they won't thrive on live food, and they won't thrive on food that is produced in a ethical manner. That's why, organic or certified organic foods vibrate so high, because the people have made a commitment to your wellness, and they, I feel, are meant to be supported, because then by supporting them, we are actually changing the way our food is produced, and that's why it's so important when you can afford that sort of food to buy it. And I noticed that a lot of the organic prices have really come down. Like a bag of carrots is not much more, doesn't cost much more than a bag of not organic carrots. So that's really good, because it's nice when those organic foods are produced. A lot of the vitamins and the minerals are in the outside layer of the carrots or kiwis. A good example of kiwis is most of the minerals and vitamins are right in the skin, and that's actually the tastiest part. That's why I always buy organic kiwis. Oh, they want to say goodbye to you. They said I'm talking too much. So I'm done this video, and I thank you so much for joining me. And the next one will be, it's Mind, Body, Spirit. So it's going to be on spirit, and I'm sure I'll be channeling messages just for you. So wait for that one.